Beauty and the Biz, where we talk about the business and marketing side of plastic surgery. I'm your host, Maley, author of Your Aesthetic Practice, What Your Patients Are Saying, as well as consultant to plastic surgeons to get them more patients and profits. And today's guest is Dr. Sam Jejurikar. Thank you. He's a board-certified plastic and reconstructive surgeon and a member of the Dallas Plastic Surgery Institute that performs cosmetic surgery, pediatric plastic surgery, breast reconstruction, and complex wound reconstruction. Now, the Institute includes 10 surgeons, the Dallas Day Surgery Center, a Cloisters post-operative recovery facility, and the Epicenter Skin Care and Laser Center. Now, Dr. Jejurikar received his medical degree from the University of Michigan Medical School and has been in practice for more than 20 years. And he also has the most incredible podcast name that I've ever heard, so we'll talk more about that. And he also is very involved with Mild Bangladesh, so we'll talk more about that. Dr. J, thank you for coming on and welcome to Beauty and the Biz.
Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Sure. So just quickly, can you give us a recap from Michigan? How did you get from Michigan to Dallas?
So after I finished at Michigan, I actually did an aesthetic fellowship at Manhattan Eye and Ear. So I spent a year there. And I kind of circuitously wasn't sure where I was going to end up after I was in New York. And one of the opportunities that I had was to join this amazing group, Dallas Plastic Surgery Institute, which is really kind of unlike many other business models. And I know you've had a lot of solo practitioners on the show, but it's basically an opportunity to set up a solo practice within the greater confines of a group practice. And so that was 2009 when I made my way to Dallas. And I'd actually had a little stop before that where I was actually in a multi-specialty group for about 3 years before I came to Dallas. And that was where I realized I really didn't want to work for anybody else. I like the autonomy of working for myself. So I've been at DPSI ever since. That's how that all sort of ended up.
Then and that's why I wanted you on, because it's so unique what you're doing, and I can't tell what you're doing. It looks like it's an LLC. Then I thought, oh, maybe they're hooked up with the hospital somehow. But then they have a fellowship program, and I thought, what? Can you just explain your business model? Because I don't get it.
Yeah. So our business model is we are basically a confederacy of solo practitioners. We've got in DPSI at this moment in time, we have 9 full partners and 3 associates, all of whom are separate PAs. But we have a common holdings company that manages our group. So we have some economies of scale. We have a business office, which is really robust, which helps all of our individual practices and our entities. We've got some shared front desk employees. We've got shared photography studios and employees. So altogether, we have about 40 shared employees between all of us. Then we have our own individual employees as well within our individual pods. And then we have our ancillary businesses. We've got a robust Quad ASF certified surgery center that's got 4 ORs. We've got a really robust skincare and laser center called Epicenter. We've got an overnight a recovery center, which is sort of an outpatient recovery center for patients where we kind of teach them how to take care of themselves, where we have 4 beds as well. So we utilize economies of scale to run a really efficient solo practice within the greater confines of a group practice. So I feel like I have partners, but at the end of the day, we are competing against each other.
So do the patients realize that you're all individual, or do some patients call the center and say, I'd like to book a consult with a plastic surgeon? And if so, then how would you divvy that up?
We don't really have a main number that has like a receptionist that divvies that up. Like we do have a group website, which is just to have sort of a placeholder. And it hosts our fellowship. So we have 2 aesthetic fellows every year. But, we think we have the best aesthetic fellowship in the country.
Everyone says that.
It hosts our it's a portal for the fellowship clinic more than anything. But there's not really a central number for people to call. There's a business office, so every now and then they might accidentally call the business office, at which point the way the group's actually set up will be explained to them, and they need to figure out what doctor they actually want to see.
Do you own the building, or is it leased?
It's a leased space. It's something that we regret. In 2008, when we moved to this building, which is in the heart of Dallas, there was an opportunity to buy the building, and we did not actually take advantage of that. And so that's actually a big focus of conversation for the group right now, because we're coming to sort of the end of our lease. And we're trying to decide, do we renew this where we're in such a fantastic location, or do we pick up and start all over again? It's a huge source of controversy within the group right now.
How do 10 surgeons make a decision of that magnitude?
So far, we
I
haven't.
can't imagine.
Yeah, I mean, like any group, there are some people that take more interest than others, some that are leading the charge, some that are following. Different, as you've been talking to different surgeons at different stages of their career, ones that are closer to the end of their career aren't particularly excited about doing that. Ones who are starting their career are very excited about doing that. And so I don't know what the final resolution is going to be.
Give me the pros and cons of this situation, because I guess you've never really been in solo practice, but you were in a multi-specialty practice, probably. How many surgeons were there? Was it a big one?
I was with a huge organization. There were in the city that I was in, there were about 100 surgeons altogether, or 100 physicians altogether. And then it was part of a much bigger, it was the Scott and White healthcare system before they merged with Baylor. So hundreds of doctors. So yeah.
Okay.
So the advantage of where I'm at right now is I have complete autonomy to run my practice in any way I see fit. I can hire and fire the employees that I want to. I can market in any way that I want to. I can do the procedures that I want to. But I have the same pressures that anyone in solo practice does, which is, if times aren't as busy, I have to figure out where my customers are coming from. So I think the only downside is there's some degree of uncertainty when you're on your own. But I think the majority of them are all they're all pluses. I mean, I think I make a lot more money this way than I did when I worked for somebody else, for sure. So I mean, I think and the thing that's different about our solo practice, I know it's been a big topic on your podcast, is about how to exit your practice.
Yeah.
So this is a situation where we're approached by private equity probably once a month about someone wanting to acquire our practice. No one on the outside really understands what our practice is. What they quickly start to realize is if private equity wants to acquire us, they actually need to talk to individuals within the group about acquiring their individual practices. Of course, they want our ancillaries as well. And so we never really get all that far. The thing is we have an easy way to exit our practice, which is when we join DPSI, there is a buy-in. There's two sets of buy-ins. There's a buy-in to our physical, our surgery center, to our profit centers, basically, which is based off of fair market value. And then there's also a buy-in to the group itself, which is there's basically a membership fee to join. You pay this membership fee, but you actually get paid it out as well as you're exiting the group. So I've paid in my membership fee, but now I'm actually at that phase of my practice where younger guys are actually in the process of buying me out. So when I leave, whether it's a building that we own or whether it's our leased space, some new associate will probably take my space, or they'll hire someone else to do that. So it does make exiting the practice relatively easy.
Are there like any disbursements along the way, or are you just buying in, doing your thing, and then when it's time to exit, you just get that big chunk then?
No, just for tax purposes, we get it as it's being bought in. So the structure is when people are associates in that first 2.5-year period before they're made a full partner, a portion of their profits go to the partner whose turn it is to be bought out. And so from a tax purpose standpoint, the partner who's actually getting that distribution pays taxes on it. And so the group doesn't want to hold on to that money, because then it becomes a liability for this holding company, which doesn't really have any income. So instead we pay taxes on it and we get it when it comes in. So even though I'm nowhere close to retiring, I'm fairly close to being already bought out.
Nice. Very, very interesting. How do you divvy up the overhead?
So I think there's overhead that's related to our common expenses. So that's divided, the denominator is the number of partners, and that's equally divided. Then there's overhead that's related to our individual pods, my own individual employees, my own individual marketing expenses, my own individual rent for my individual space. That's my own to pay for. And then we have ownership, of our ancillaries, and so the same sort of deal. It's your percentage equity ownership is what you're on the hook for from a liability standpoint.
I have to tell you, this sounds like an accounting nightmare. How are you keeping track of all this?
So we have multiple accountants that are full-time employees of our practice. It's actually, if you saw our accounting, you'd be blown away by the level of organization. Like we all have things that we love about TPSI. If you ask, the most senior and well-known partner, Rod Rorick, he's going to tell you it's the surgery center. If you talk to other partners, they're going to tell you it's our great skincare center. For me, who loves numbers, I think our business office is incredible. And the level of organization, the level of detail that I know every single expense in my office would blow you away.
And aren't you very involved in the accounting?
I am. Yeah, I got an MBA, and so I'm not actually doing the accounting, but I'm overseeing the reports and our analytics that go out every month for sure.
Do you have meetings with each other? Does it feel like a good camaraderie there? Does it feel competitive? Like, what is your culture like?
I think with any large group of plastic surgeons, you deal with enough of them to know that not everyone is best friends with each other. But and we have disparate thought processes. There are some different visions for the group among different people, but there's a healthy respect for all the partners amongst one another. I think that's uniformly true. We've got a leadership structure that basically has an executive committee of currently 4 of the partners all together. I'm one of them. We meet every month. We have a regular standing meeting every month. We have a quarterly meeting of all the partners to talk about bigger issues. And if there's pressing issues, the surgery center I work at, my office space, skincare center, everything we do is under the same roof. So we're always there all the time, should there be a reason to communicate more often.
That's amazing. If there is, you're trying to make a decision, is there a final say? Is there a dictator there that says this is how we're going to do it? Or is it a democracy? Are you voting? Because if you have 4, how's that working out?
Yeah. So if we have a 2-2 tie, it goes to the partnership. We don't have a dictatorship because we're not one corporation. We that wouldn't work effectively for us. So, and if it's a big, the executive committee of the 4 of us, we tend to make the day-to-day decisions. We tend to do sort of the relatively mundane things. Big group decisions are decided by all the partners.
That decision you have coming up, that has got to be a big deal for you to try to decide, do we stay, do we go, are you thinking about buying somewhere else or completely relocating, or are you thinking about just building in? How many square feet do you need?
So right now we have about 45,000 in the heart of Dallas. But as you know, if you're going to think about a time to potentially invest in commercial real estate, the market is really depressed right now.
Right.
And so this wasn't something that had really crossed our mind more than a few months ago, but there are some opportunities right now. So we're having lots of conversations about it. They're healthy, productive conversations. We have a 5-year period of time still before our lease that would actually end. So we're working with a big enough window of time where we're not rushing into anything.
I would say though, timing is perfect for a really long lease. If you want to stay put, I go long. Yeah.
We're getting some pretty competitive offers. Yeah. We're actually, we're getting some pretty competitive. In fact, the building that we own was just sold, and they really, as you know, they really want us. We're their primary leaseholder. So they're offering us more and more, because if they want to turn around and sell the building again, having us locked up for another 10 or 15 years would make it a much more attractive building for sale. So we'll see what happens. We don't really know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Out of curiosity, how does the surgery center work? Do you have blocked surgical times, or are you fighting over them, or it's who gets there first? How does that work?
First come, first serve.
Yeah.
There's definitely, and it's busy. There's definitely days where I can't get on, at least at the times that I want to get on, in which case I have to readjust my schedule to get on, or I have to work at another surgery center. Many of us have carve outs at other surgery centers that allow us to own a piece of another surgery center as well. So I'm lucky enough to
Oh,
actually have an ownership share of another surgery center that's owned by a large hospital system here in town. So if that happens, I have another place that I can go to.
is there any plans for expanding to more ORs?
So that leads in perfectly into the conversations that we're having about building our own space, because right now we're locked into our building, and there's not necessarily a great way to build a fifth or even sixth OR without majorly disrupting operations. So yeah, it's a conversation we have all the time. I think our first step though would be before we actually build another OR or two, is we're lengthening the hours and hiring a second shift. So we're now getting to the point where we have 2 late rooms that go to later in the evening, and a second PACU shift that comes on. So we're going to start with that before we start changing the actual physical infrastructure.
That's interesting. So like a patient can have surgery at 6 at night kind of thing?
Maybe not that late, but,
I couldn't
but
go
like,
all
yeah,
day
but
not
like
eating
5 o'clock.
that.
But 5 o'clock, yeah. I mean, if we can finish at 7, that's our goal. And we start as early as 6:30. Many of the rooms start at 6:30 in the morning.
Gotcha. Okay. So the exit strategy, when people come on, they're coming on long term, like they're signing contracts that they're going to stay put, right? Because that's the way your business model works. But just let's say it just didn't work out, a personal problem, whatever.
Yeah.
How do you unravel some of this? If somebody needs to leave or wants to leave, is there a way out?
Yeah, there is. I mean, just like any business or any sort of marriage, sometimes things just don't work out. And we've had this happen before. There's, like many practices, there's a non-compete that's a certain geographic radius. Ours isn't particularly onerous. I don't even know what it is, but I think it's 15 miles. And it's 2 years. If they want to violate that non-compete, there's a financial penalty that they would pay to stay within that zone. But Dallas-Fort Worth is so large that usually they can find a place within the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex and still not violate their non-compete. I think we're arrogant enough to think that if you want to leave, we're still going to be fine.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because what was really interesting, I like to check you out as a patient would, as a prospective patient. And so when I Googled you, up comes the main website. And what was really interesting was they immediately, there's a homepage. It's not fancy at all. It just has a bunch of your photos on it. And I just clicked on yours. And the minute I did that, I went straight over to your website and I never came back. Like I couldn't come back to the big practice. I just stayed with you. And I thought that was really good, because now I can't fiddle around and say, well, maybe I'll go to somebody, let me check everybody out. And so is that what happened? That I assume that was on purpose. Once they say you, it's you, right?
That's right. Our DPSI website is just a placeholder in case somebody wants to know more about DPSI. It's really common because I think my partners are, many of my partners are amazing surgeons, and I can't tell you, but it happens multiple times a week where a patient's seeing me for a consult, and they may be seeing 2 other surgeons who they think are great people in Dallas to have the same thing done, and it turns out they didn't even realize they were my partners. They were just in the building 2 days before that, and they're going to be back the week after or something. So yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, people don't even recognize that some of us are great surgeons. I've got my youngest child goes to a small private school, and I can't tell you the number of my wife's friends that I meet at sporting events that are going to one of my partners for surgery. It always kind of pains me a little bit, but it also makes me feel good that I'm in practice with such good people.
Right, for sure. So would you say that name has been helpful to you, or it doesn't really matter because you're going off of your own name? You're not like trying to ride the coattails of Dallas Plastic Surgery Institute.
I think it's incredibly helpful. I think,
Okay.
I think you look at it when you're starting off in practice. When I came to Dallas, I had no connections to the city of any kind. It gave me legitimacy right away. They're like, "Oh, you're in this group, you must be pretty good." It helps me with business contacts and business opportunities because we're a huge contract with Allergan. We're a top 10 account. We're a huge contract with Sientra. We get approached by a lot of people within the industry who want to make us a test center for something they're doing. So it's a huge opportunity being part of this group. From an individual marketing standpoint, maybe not so much, but it's certainly not a harmful thing. And every other aspect of business is fantastic.
So let's talk about marketing channels. Your social media, I mean, you've got over 100,000 followers. Are you spending a lot of time on content creation for social media, or you've got a team doing that, or how's that working out?
Me personally spends very little time on it. But yeah, I've got we used to work with an outside company. Now it's just sort of done internally within the office. I think there's different kinds of practices. Some practices where they generate a lot of new patients from social media. I don't think I'm probably one of those practices. I think people look at me and my social media is just sort of a check mark where they've sort of verified that I'm legitimate, that I actually do exist. I've got plenty of before and after pictures that are on there, and that's how we treat it. So I don't personally spend a lot of time on it, but there's an employee in my office who spends half her time filming stuff and putting together videos and things like that.
That's what I'm, you know what, the answer is it depends. It depends on your personality and your interest and passion for it. Some of the doctors are just crushing it on Instagram, but that could also, shut down. The minute something happens with Instagram and it goes down, you go down with it. So that makes me very nervous. I always say to people, make sure you're getting these followers to give you their name, cell phone, and email in case something were to go wrong, because plastic surgery and social media do not get along, and it's getting worse. So, but if you like doing it, do it. But if you don't be spending 2 or 3 hours a day fiddling with it if it's not what you want to do,
Yeah, I don't think I have the personality that's particularly magnetic for Instagram. I just recognize that about myself. I think I do great work, so that's what we focused on there.
Me too. I'm not a social media queen at all. So let me ask you about patients. Do you see, you've been around for a while. First of all, are the patients getting older and maturing with you? So now you're moving from just breast dog more to mommy makeovers and more to facial rejuvenation. Are you doing any of that? And does it feel like the patients are changing?
Let me answer your second question first. Definitely there's a lot of patients that are in my practice that have been with me for 10 plus years. And so, as those patients themselves are maturing, I'm definitely doing more facial aesthetic procedures on them. And if I did a breast dog on them before, liposuction, now maybe it's a tummy tuck or a bigger mommy makeover. I do think, though, with it being a major city and a major market, people tend to look for specialists and things. And so even though I have a fellowship basically in facial aesthetics, my reputation is for body contouring. I mean, it's for breasts and tummies and butts and liposuction, and that's hard to escape. So I do find that like today, for instance, instead of my patients maturing, I'm operating on children of my patients. Like today I did a breast dog and a liposuction case on 2 different patients, both of whom were the daughters of patients I did like 15 years ago. So maybe it's not maturing. Maybe it's just I'm staying in the family. I'm not sure.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And do you want to stay body? Because some plastic surgeons have said to me, I am so done with the young, silly patient, the breast dog patient who, needs to be out at the dance club, 2 days later, and now they're complaining about pain. Like they had it with that kind of a patient. So they did actually transition to face, and the more mature patient, the one that cared more about their skill than they did about saving money. And they were, I know I can think of at least 5 that said, I'm happier now because I matured. So I matured the patients as well. And do you see that coming, or you're fine with all of it?
I think my practice had matured. I'm definitely not a cheap breast augmentation surgeon. I think as my pricing schedule has matured, I'm pretty happy. I like my patients. I tend to I'm not feeling this big need to change. I love doing facial aesthetics. I love doing rhinoplasties. I love doing facelifts. I do. But I love doing breast surgery and mommy makeovers and tummy tucks as well. I don't know. I'm not feeling this huge push to change anything just because I like my day to day a lot.
Yeah. Well, if you are, I mean, there, just know thyself. If you're happy with what you're doing, there's no need to
Yeah.
change. Um, what about your patients coming back for more? Are you more like a one and done or patients for life philosophy? Where are you at with that?
Definitely a patient for life philosophy. Um, so I turned 50 next month. So I'm very much, I think, in that mid-career aspect of my life. And I just want to enjoy like every day. And so I like the thing that my staff complained to me about. I spend a lot of time talking to people. I get to know them really well. It's really common for me to forget the procedure that I've done on them, but I always remember them and details about them. And so, no, I mean, you know this. If you can hold on to your customers, that customer lifetime value is so much more than having to go out and get new ones. And when you get to know patients that well and you genuinely like them and you do a good job for them, they get very loyal to you and they tend to send people your way as well. So the number one and number two sources of patients in my practice are either return patients or just direct referrals from them.
Right.
So
Do you have any tips for, I mean, honestly, the two most important things going for somebody who's looking for you online are your reviews and your photos. Do you have any tips for how you're collecting reviews and photos or having any success getting them more often than not?
I think the first part is don't delegate it.
Mhm.
People are really happy when they're really happy, and you recognize that as the surgeon. They want to do something nice for you because you've made such a big impact on their life. And sometimes I don't think they realize that it's as simple as doing a Google review. I
Mhm.
mean, if you want to do a Google review for me, that's way more valuable than sending my office cookies, which are just
Yeah.
going to make me fatter than I already am. And it's because it's so good for our practice. So initiating that conversation with them yourself, I think, is really helpful. But then having a way to make it really easy. So we use Podium, in our
Yes,
practice
yes.
with, and they'll just send them a little text message with a link for them how to do that at some point. And I find that if I ask someone to do it, more often than not, they do. Uh,
That's the secret. The surgeon has to ask. They'll get a much better response than the staff. What about the before and after photos? Is that a priority for you to get more of them, or what's your feeling on that?
So again, I think one of the huge advantages that I have in being in the group that I am is because we have economies of scale. We've got a full-time photography staff and we've got 3 photography studios between 2 different floors with, amazing setups and a great database. So yeah, I get before and after pictures on pretty much every patient at every visit. And I think I do really good work. Again, if I'm going to show it, I usually have a conversation with the patient more than just the signed releases, making sure they're okay with it. And again, more often than not, people in today's day and age, and it's still kind of foreign to me, but they want me to show their pictures online. To them, that's sort of a sign that I crossed some sort of threshold that like they're good enough to put on there. And so I just mentioned, I'll say something like, "Your results really good. It'll be really good for my business if I show your results. Are you okay with that?" And they seem to really like that more often than not.
Now, I hope everybody heard that. The pearl is you give them a compliment and then you ask for a favor. And it's very simple. The surgeon does it, it's no big deal. And
Mhm.
so many practices still say to me, there's no way my patients will agree to this. They just will not. It's much too private. And I say, then how do others make it happen? There's such a mindset shift when
Yeah,
you look at your patients as they're partners of yours and you did them a big favor by transforming their life and they're more than happy. Many of them are more than happy to give it back to you within a review and photos. So
yeah.
I just start thinking bigger than that, especially with social media. For heaven's sakes, the stigma is so much diminished now from before. Everyone's out there bragging about everything they have. So I don't buy that anymore. That patients are private.
Oh, I totally agree. Patients take a huge sense of pride in knowing that their surgeon is recognized by other people as being good, and they get more intense about it than I do. I mean, I've never been in it, but I've learned that there is a Facebook group that has a bunch of my patients that are in it, and they're really, really just like they're very proud of me and my results. And I don't think I have a great social media personality, but I think I've got great before and after pictures. I do think I do good work, and I think that's been great for our practice, is showing it. And to the point where now very often I'll get a comment from a patient saying, when are you going to put my photos on social media? And I'm like, I just want your swelling to go down a little bit, then I promise you they'll go on there. Like, I mean, patients bring it up all the time.
Oh, that's fantastic. So I want to switch gears a little bit, because the reason you're on my radar is because I was somewhere, probably on Instagram, and I saw something called this podcast, and it was called Three Plastic Surgeons and a Microphone. And that completely caught my attention. And I looked at it, I said, three surgeons on a microphone regularly. How did you pull that off? First of all, who came up with the name? Because it's fabulous. And then how in the world do you structure it where three of you are in the same place at the same time, or at least in front of the Zoom at the same time? It is very hard to corral you people. Yeah.
Well, so the name was my PA actually came up with that name. Her name is Colette Calabro, and we were trying to brainstorm an idea. And I think I had just seen Beck in concert, the musician Beck, and like two turntables and a microphone. She's like, "Why don't you call it Three Plastic Surgeons and a Microphone?"
Oh,
so that's where that came up from. The reason why we have an easy time filming it is the other two guys, Sam Ree, who's in Bergen County, New Jersey, Sal Pacella, who is in La Jolla, California. We're really good friends. We all trained together at the University of Michigan. Sam was 1 year senior to me. Sal was 2 years junior to me, but we're close friends. So we like each other. We like hanging out. We like talking. So in the pandemic, just like when everyone else was bored and podcasts started just popping up, we thought, let's do this. But Sam Ree in New Jersey is technologically really savvy. So he sort of put together, like, he produces all of them. He does everything. He does the editing. He does everything. But he's really savvy at doing all of this stuff. And so we started doing it. In the first few podcasts, we got some pretty big guests. We got a lot of positive feedback. Then I started getting people that were coming to see me, like from other places in the country, who said they found me from the podcast. And I wasn't really. So then we kind of realized how powerful it could be from a marketing standpoint. So we kept doing it, and we've gotten a ton of feedback. We've gotten a lot of FeedSpot always consistently ranked us as one of the best podcasts in plastic surgery, and we just have a lot of fun doing it. And it's a very efficient thing to do it. We'll typically do it on the weekends. We'll do it on Sunday mornings. We can typically film an episode in 25 to 40 minutes, and we'll do 3 or 4 at a time, and kind of do that once a month.
And the topics, because I can't tell who's your audience, because sometimes you talk about plastic surgery via like the patient itself. Then sometimes you have industry people on there. Then sometimes you have colleagues on there talking about procedures. Who are you going for?
I don't know. I think we're just like talking to each other, and we're still figuring it out. But
Gotcha.
No, in all seriousness, it's patient driven.
Okay.
Because even when we have industry, it's if we have the ideal implant people on there,
I saw that.
Yeah, because we're getting a lot of patients that want to know about it, and sometimes, I think more often than not, because I'm in DPS, so we're all in different sorts of practices. Sam Ree is a true solo practitioner. He's a one-man show. Sal Pacella is the head of plastic surgery for the Scripps Clinic in La Jolla, so he's in a very different sort of setting. So I'm in a group that gets approached by industry all the time. Sometimes it's a way for the other guys to learn about it. Where I was talking to the CEO of a financing company the other day, and learning about some of the things that they're actually doing, and I asked them to be on the podcast so the other guys can sort of learn about it. Sometimes it's just each other. We're the audience, but other people find it interesting.
Right. So you're doing it for fun. It's not like a big marketing ploy.
It's turned into a big marketing ploy, but we're doing it entirely for fun. Like we haven't put much money into it at all. We've turned down people that want to do, endorsements or advertising that have approached us for doing it. I definitely get customers from it, but I have no way to track those metrics. But we're doing it for fun.
That's the only thing I don't like about podcasting. You can see numbers, but you can't see the details of the numbers. And that just drives me nuts, because I think, who are these people watching this? And I just, Yeah, I have to count on them to like text me or DM me or do something to tell me who you are. So that's a little infuriating. But I don't know how else to do it other than just keep saying, come to my website, catherinemaley.com, and tell me who you are, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I definitely know when I get someone in my office who's a patient who's flown from another state to come see me, and they say, "I saw you on your on the podcast, and I knew I wanted you to be my surgeon." Those are the best consultations because as you imagine, you already know they feel like they already know you. They know
Yeah.
your philosophy about things. They're going to pick you to be your surgeon. So,
That's a
um,
95% conversion rate. I don't know why everybody just doesn't make their life easier and try the relationship kind of selling first. People
yeah,
who already come know you, like you, trust you, they come ready to say yes. All you have to do is not screw it up, like they're ready. I so much easier than that stranger patient, that internet stranger patient, with their arms crossed saying, "Who are you? What do you don't try to oversell me." Get
yeah,
out there.
exactly.
Yeah.
100% agree.
Yeah. So we have to talk about Smile Bangladesh because oh my gosh, it's like tear jerking. I saw one um, Instagram post and the little girl who is holding up her picture of her as a baby as with a cleft palate. And she looked fantastic now. And I'm thinking, girl, you don't know how lucky you are. Like, wow. I mean, that was life changing. So what's that all about?
So it's a group based out of New Jersey. The founder of the group is an oral surgeon. He's really well known in the oral surgery world. A guy by the name of Shahid Aziz. When I met Shahid, he was on staff at UMDNJ. He's now moved over to Hackensack. But back then, this was more than 10 years ago. The craniofacial surgeon at UMDNJ was Sam Ree, my colleague from
Oh,
Three Surgeons and a Microphone. And on the very first Smile Bangladesh trip that went, it was Shahid, Sam, and a couple of nurses. And on the second or third trip, Sam invited me along. So I went. Obviously, as you know, I'm great friends with Sam Ree, but Shahid and I hit it off really, really well. So they kept asking me to come back. So at least once a year for the first 7 or 8 years, I would go and I would operate and got more and more involved. And at some point, they asked me to be on the board of directors. And it's grown. The organization has grown from being a really small endeavor to being huge groups. Shahid has built, and Shahid's story is really interesting. His son was or his father was a really prominent infectious disease doctor from Bangladesh. Shahid had never even been to Bangladesh, but when his father unfortunately passed away, he just told him to never forget where you came from. So Shahid made it his mission, and he founded this organization. And the trips now are usually 2 week endeavors. The first week they're doing orthognathic surgery. The second week we're doing cleft surgery, and I don't do orthognathic surgery, so I'll go in and I'll do a bunch of cleft surgery, and then we come back, and they're very emotionally therapeutic, life affirming sorts of trips because you meet people that just have nothing, and they are so grateful that you're providing these services to them, and so they've been incredible experiences for me. I've gotten to take one of my kids with me, my middle son, who's a freshman in college now, and it was a huge life-changing experience for him. I look forward to taking my youngest son with me in a few years. It's been amazing for me.
I talk about a different perspective. Everybody who lives in America who's complaining needs to go see the alternative,
Yeah.
and be a lot more grateful, than they are. Anyway, so any comments like any advice for others coming up in the industry or anything any 2 cents you have that was helpful advice that you were given?
I think advice that I've heard all the time, but I kind of disregarded because it just didn't seem practical enough, was to just do what you love
Oh,
and to build the practice that you want, because it doesn't seem like work if you are doing the procedures you want, if you are spending the amount of time you want, like in our group, there are guys that make more, there are guys that make less, there are guys that see 3 times the number of patients, there are guys that see a third of the number of patients, and ultimately just deliver really good patient care, figure out what works for you, And I don't know any plastic surgeons that aren't successful. I mean, everyone has varying degrees of success, but ultimately it won't seem like work if you build a practice that you want and you do the things that you want to do.
Such good advice. And the last question, tell us something we don't know about you.
Don't know about me. Well, I've got 3 kids, one of whom is a junior in college and one of whom is in kindergarten, and there's one in between. So I'm never going to be without children.
The same mom?
No.
Okay.
So I guess the bit of advice is when your second wife tells you they don't want to have any more kids, that may or may not be true, but but it's a great thing and it keeps you young for sure.
You got to get that in writing. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on Beauty and the Biz. I really appreciate it. I hope to meet you someday. At a conference or wherever. And someday, boy, I'd love to see your practice. I tried to do a tour of your office, and it's big. You have quite an impressive location there. Nice.
Well, you're welcome anytime. Just let us know when you want to come.
Thank you so much. And Dr. J, how can they reach out to you if they want to?
Probably the best way is via Instagram. They can DM me. I'm at Sam Jejurikar.
Sam Jejurikar. I like your name. It's catchy once you get used to it. Jejurikar. And that's going to wrap it up for us on Beauty and the Biz. So please do me a favor and subscribe and review if you'd like. And then if you've got any questions or feedback for me, you can certainly leave them at KatherineMaley.com, or you can DM me at Instagram at KatherineMaleyMBA. Thanks so much. We'll talk again soon.
The fastest way to success is to model other successful surgeons who have what you want, but you can only see their results, not the path they took to get there. So you continue to jump from one thing to another, hoping to find something that will work for you too. But it rarely does. So try this shortcut instead. It's guaranteed to move you forward. I compiled my intellectual property to grow cosmetic revenues, everything I've gleaned over the years, into one playbook of the most successful practices and what they do to win. Go to cosmeticpracticevault.com and let's grow your cosmetic revenues.